Hello, hello, hello. This is Sena, your resident DIYer at FlaVR. Hi, guys. Good evening. Lolly, Lolly. Hello, guys. How are we tonight? Small Sena. Hello. Are we all in? Alrighty. I'm gonna turn that down just a bit. Okay. Hello, hello. Lollybond. Okay, so what we have on the roster today is going to be a hunting, prepping, game meat focused stream. I am going to be teaching you how to hunt, how to get things set up to appropriate your prey and get things, you know, to a point where you can get the meat and cook the meat. Correct? Correct. Okay. Hello. Okay. Let's just jump right in. So you want to hunt a... Alright. Deciding what to hunt is going to be... is going to be your first step. Okay? So, location is going to be your biggest factor. This right here is a map of the US, BLM land. It's going to be that government-owned land, essentially land for the people to freely use, correct? This is going to be the kind of land you can essentially hunt on without having to ask the owner, because you technically are the owner, right? And then, you know, location-based is also going to be really important, right? Because some places don't have a lot of game to hunt, and some places, you know, don't have a lot of allowances for hunting, right? So that's going to be your biggest factor when it comes to hunting in general. Right? Same with fishing, you have to have a body of water to fish, right? So you have to have the land and the animals to hunt. Okay? Big ol' factor. Alright? How do you not get caught by the ranger? Those buggers are pretty hard to avoid, so. Alright. Your next step is going to be the purpose. What is the purpose of your hunt? Are you doing it for meat? Are you doing it for food storages, right? Are you doing it for pelts, for fabrics, right? Or are you doing it merely for the trophies, for the fun of it, for the heck of it, to say you killed something, to say you lorded over something, right? Okay. The next part is, are you going to be solo hunting? If you're going to be solo hunting, this is going to, you know, help decide where you're going to be hunting, help decide what you're going to be hunting. Certain things are better to hunt in groups, like rabbit. Smaller game is usually funner and easier to hunt when you have others helping, right? But larger game, such as deer, caribou, reindeer, whatever, elk, depending on where you're at, is you know, something you can hunt fairly solo. Until you actually kill something. Then you might need a little bit of help. It depends. Okay? You can't hunt in the city zoo? Unfortunately not. The law unfortunately prevents me from hunting at times. Bon. Yep. That is, so after you decide whether you're hunting solo or party hunting solo or in a party or in a group, right? You're gonna have to, you know, make some choices on your weaponry. Certain areas of the US have, you know, different seasons for the game that you're hunting, right? And on top of that, they'll have a separate season for each weapon to hunt with. You know, sometimes they'll have like a musket season, or a rifle season, or an arrow season, right? So you have to, you know, what are you best at aim-wise? What weapon do you primarily hunt with? You know, and how does that apply, unfortunately, to the law? Which brings us to laws. Unfortunately, you have to have pretty much everywhere one of these bad boys. It's gonna differ. I know Texas has this. I know some states offer a lifetime, right? But essentially, you're gonna have this, and it's going to have to be on your person. Once hunting seasons open up across the US, rangers go into full schizoid mode and hunt for you. So, and I promise you, your local game warden is usually a better hunter at hunting you down than you are at hunting your game down. So this, unfortunately, is gonna be very, very important. Okay? So now we are preparing for the hunt after we've decided what we're hunting, right? So some preparations need to be made for the hunt. Okay, so equipment. This is important. You pack for the function, not the aesthetic. I don't care if you like looking like all Rhodesian camo or some shit, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. For this alone, you have to have things that are functional to you. I say pack as light as you can. You never know if you're gonna have to track something into the woods if you nick it. And yeah, you pack light. Pack light. And, you know, shouldn't have to be said, but sometimes it bears mentioning. Don't wear something you just washed. And if you just washed it, I hope you didn't use any fabric softener or scented soap, because you're gonna scare off whatever you're looking for, okay? Archery has an extended hunting season in my state. Nice. Yeah, I think archery has an extended season in, I think a lot of states, actually. Okay. Texas, I live there. Why is she small? Because I debut on Tuesday, and this is what I chose for today. Okay, is that an issue? Do you have an issue? Artillery season. Oh god, you're not trying to obliterate the meat you're trying to get, right? Swiss pizza camo, oh gosh. Rhodesian kid is all function, most so the short shorts. Yeah, no, sorry. Sorry, most of the time, most hunting seasons are going to be in your fall to winter range. Most of the time. So it's going to be cold enough to actually want to really gear up. And if you are trekking into the woods, you do have to remember, you know, ticks. I'd say wear something that is all covering, alright? This is why I only go hunting in Rhodesia. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay. Ayo. Now we're moving to prop and weaponry, okay? You're gonna need something to kill your prey. Preferably something that is long range. If you're doing the bow and arrow route, a crossbow is gonna be preferred unless you are, you know, the princess from Brave. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're probably not super great. I hate to break it to you. No one's Katniss Everdeening themselves a deer for the most part these days. So I would say crossbow is usually going to be a little more accurate. But if you do the bow and arrow route, like regular bow and arrow, and you're good at it, then go for it, obviously. Some of it's musket loading. I personally don't prefer that. I am going to usually hunt with an M1 Grant, or My 270 Winchester. Okay, deer rifle. Your standard deer rifle. Okay, 3-round bolt action rifle. Alright? That's what we're doing. This is what I got to down the last deer I got for this season. Okay? The grand, hard to find the ammo right now. Okay? You'll also want to have a good knife that can cut through flesh and through skin and things of that nature. Don't forget your freaking license. God forbid you go out there, you have the license, you don't have the license, you make a kill, and you're loading it into the back, right? And you're just amped, and some game warden comes up on you. And they accost it, and then they take it. They take it from you. They take it from you. God forbid. Horrible, 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 horrible. You got a license for that? Yep, unfortunately you do. Okay. Okay. You still have a surplus ammo. Yeah, no, I know. I should have stocked up. If I hindsight 2020 on that one. For sure. Did not expect, you know, the world to explode from sicky times, but it did, so. Okay. Time of day. Alright? You gotta make up your mind. Some people like hunting at dusk. Some people like hunting at the butt crack of dawn. You gotta make a decision. What works best for you and your schedule? For me, dusk. Every time. And if you're going to be using someone else's land, like I do, a farmer's land in the area, you have to get permission from the landowner. Preferably something in writing. But if they're a little old-fashioned word will do. Now, where you're hunting is also pretty important. You might just go and hide amongst the trees. You might be in a lifted blind, or this here is just a on-ground blind, deer blind. This is something I like to hunt in. The farmer has it up on his hill, and it is very useful for just kind of hiding out and waiting for the deer to come out for the night. Once they start chasing, that is prime time. Chasing as in starting to try to mate, right? Prime time to get one down, especially a buck, right? Okay. Next slide. Catching your prey. Larger prey needs to be properly down, okay? I know, you see it, you see the buck, you're like, all right, has enough points, I can take the shot. And let's say your shot's just askew and grazes him. That does not mean if he's still standing in the field, only grazed and not down, you go up on him. That's surefire way to get kicked in the face or somewhere else. Or, you know, bashed with some antlers. Make sure whatever you're shooting is properly down. Okay? And if you do nick something and it skitters off, right? You're gonna have to be a pretty good tracker. Watching for blood. Tracking the blood drops. And sometimes you can be out there for hours and not find it. And then that's a lost cause. A lot of times they'll end up dead days later and the meat's just no good at that point, right? Or you can splurge a bit and have a gun-trained dog who can help do the tracking for you. Which, would have been nice this season, right? Pointers and beagles and hounds of usually scent led dogs are great for this kind of thing, for obviously following the trail, right? All right. Dusk is better because the deer are lazier because they've been out and about all day, just want to bed down by dusk. Yep, I feel that's true. Always make sure it's dead. Yeah. A live and crazed deer is not something you want to happen on. Now I say that, you know, if you're hunting like a rabbit, that's not going to be something to worry about. 9 times out of the 10, if you don't down it, is gone. It has taken off. Squirrel is the same way. Just about any rodent is going to be the same. And it's going to be similar for birds. Birds are at least easier. They'll fall from the sky and you can go up and grab it by the head and give a good thwack and they're gone. What about, I guess if you're doing like trophy hunting like mink or raccoon, you're also going to want to make sure that that's down because they can be vicious little critters. All right, next, proper handling. Make sure it's dead, obviously. Duh. And then you're going to want to gut it. As soon as you get onto it, you're going to want to gut it while it's still hot. Okay? Now, personally, I've only had the pleasure of, having deer. So you're going to want to get it down, lay it on its side, and make a nice clean cut along its abdomen. Okay? It's really important to get deep, but not too deep that you puncture anything. And then you're going to want to pull out all of its vital organs, including the heart. And if you know somebody who likes to pickle heart or grill it, I would say set it aside for that person or leave it there for the buzzards, right? Right. And then you're going to just leave all the guts and nastiness for the buzzards, unless you're told otherwise by the landowner that they don't prefer it, right? Okay. After gutting, you're going to want to make sure you have transport. If you were out in a farmer's field, chances are you did not bring your truck all the way back there because you would have scared any deer you wanted to get off. So you're going to want to have a truck. I know for me personally, the farmers will sometimes come up with their gators or tractors to help. You're going to want to have something and a tarp, a very large tarp. You don't want to get that all over your nice truck bed. After you secured your transport, okay, you're going to want to, at least for larger game like a deer, to have a spot dedicated to bleed it out. I'm lucky to have a farmer who can put it in the pole barn and bleed it out. A lot of times you let it hang for a couple days. You don't want it to freeze. And this is just because the cold, as the body cools, it will be getting rid of a lot of ticks. I don't want to mix my meat with bug meat. So it's pretty good to bleed it out for a couple days or so. Especially if you are trying to secure your spot at the butcher like I am. Okay, that brings us to, what are you going to do with the meat, with your kill? Home or pro? Are you going to be skinning it at home? If so, you're going to need equipment for that. You're going to need good knives, and a lot of times meat grinders, processors, large stock pots, all the works. And you're going to need gloves and aprons and smocks and whatever you need to take that beast apart. Or you can do the easy way out like I do and find the right butcher. Finding the right butcher is pretty integral. Some places won't take deer meat. You gotta know where you're going before you go. From what I understand of watching the butchers fillet open a deer, a lot of times you can make a clean circular cut around the hindquarters and rip the skin down in one full motion, and removing the skin and fur, and then flip it the other way and do it the same way, and then chop the head off. Personally, if you get a deer with an amazing rack, right, you're more than welcome to save the head and fully taxidermy it. That's not my preference. I'd rather do a European mount, which is this picture here, which means you save the head, boil off the skin and flesh, and then you do a fun little skull mount. There you go. Great decoration, great emphasis on what you were able to achieve, all the works, right? Now, these are the cuts I recommend for deer specifically. If you go through a butcher, you have to understand that there will be a out-of-pocket cost to you. So the cuts need to stay on the simpler side. The more you add, the more the price goes up, obviously. First of all, you need to keep in mind, depending on the size of the kill, that you might not be able to get a lot of steak or stew meat out of it, and you might be better off going the hamburger route. Or, if you've severely wounded the animal and tainted it with too much with bullet points, right, then you also risk the amount of meat that you're getting out of it, right? I say the most recommended cuts I have for venison in general, it's going to be hamburg, sausage, particularly breakfast sausage, steaks, usually tenderloin for me, stew meat, and potentially jerky, depending on price. A lot of places are going to upcharge up the wazoo to get that venison jerky. So you got to kind of make an executive choice if that's something you want to give as Christmas gifts, or you just want to get your hamburg. This year, I skipped out entirely on the jerky, and I'm glad I did. We like a good rack. Shut up! These are the best ways to have venison, in my opinion. Hamburger is always going to have a lot of versatility to it. You can put it in anything you would put minced meat into. You know, sausage, blends, chili, spaghetti, minestrone, soups of all kinds, anything that requires minced meat, you know, hamburger stroganoff, hamburger mac. A lot of those things are gonna, you know, be a good replacement. A lot of times when you get hamburger, a butcher will offer to cut the venison with a fat amount, typically pork. So you want to make sure you get a good blend, because venison is a pretty lean meat and you want to have that fat that helps add the flavor and caramelize your meat when you cook it down. Sausage, obviously sausage has its use in many dishes, but you can also just have it plain in a sandwich or with your breakfast. Great option. Then of course steaks, any way you like to serve it, any old regular way you like to serve it, and stew meat. Plenty of different stews. There's obviously just the venison stew, straight up and nice and simple and straightforward, right? Or any stew meat that requires some sort of red stew meat. It's a versatile meat, and the more you work with it, the more you accustom yourself to the taste of it, but you also learn to work with the gaminess and not against it. Okay? And that finally brings me to the top recipes I have for venison. So, this is venison steak. It can be cooked in alcohol. A lot of times I don't soak my venison steaks in buttermilk because I don't use enough buttermilk to warrant buying an entire thing of buttermilk. A lot of times I think it could be just a waste of money on my part. I don't use it enough. So I go the other tenderizing route, which is alcohol. You can also tenderize with vinegar. Personally, I like the alcohol because you can cook it directly in it and it'll help caramelize and crisp up the edges because it has sugar obviously in it. So this is a recipe, serves just me. 1 tenderloin cut, half a quarter cup of brandy or red wine. Personally, I've used all kinds of stuff. The first time I made myself a venison steak, I used Southern Comfort, and it turned out pretty amazing, actually. Then I would say 2 finely diced shallots, or half a Vidalia onion, also finely diced. 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 teaspoons of rosemary or sage, whichever you're feeling that day, and 1 tablespoon of minced raw garlic. Salt and pepper to taste, obviously. And to prepare, I would normally set the steak out and let it come to room temp. Once it's come to room temp, salt it on all sides before at least 30 minutes before cooking. And hard sear all sides, right? And then switch the burner to low, add in all my extra ingredients and the alcohol, and baste it in the alcohol, butter, and seasoning blend until the alcohol is fully cooked out and the steak is to my doneness. My preferred doneness, right? My preferred doneness is always going to be a nice medium rare. I like a little bit of blood, it adds the flavor. And I like to personally serve it with a creamy mashed potato with Parmesan mixed in and a green. Usually I like to do a spicy garlic green bean or recently I've done balsamic glazed Brussels sprouts with bacon. So, yeah. Yeah. No marinade, nope. Nope. If you're cooking directly in alcohol, a lot of that will take that gaminess right out. I've had plenty of people who love venison but hate the gaminess try my steaks cooked this way, and they taste no gaminess whatsoever. So, I don't know. It seems to work for me. I think I've got a bit of a process going, right? The next one is going to be a good old venison stew. This is perfect for the cold weather. You're going to take 1 pack of stew meat, usually from your butcher, right? It's usually going to be about a pound. A can of golden mushroom soup from Campbell's Soup. Half an onion roughly chopped. It's very important to try and get all of your chopped vegetables to be nice big sizes, to be, well paired with the stew cuts, right? 2 carrots roughly chopped, 1 celery stalk roughly chopped, 2 potatoes roughly chopped. You can decide to peel it. I personally don't. I just clean them up really good and cut out any ugly parts, right? 1 tablespoon of raw minced garlic, a bay leaf, salt and pepper to taste, and optional. If the soup or stew is not thick enough, you can make a cornstarch slurry to thicken. It's usually a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 tablespoon of water and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, or 1 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. It's just going to be 1-to-1 every time. And you're going to mix that in a separate bowl before you put it in. If you put it in as is together without mixing them together, it's going to do nothing. It's going to coagulate in some areas and not in others, or just do absolutely nothing. To prepare, you're going to brown your meat and veg slightly in butter in a large soup pot or pan if you're using a crock pot. If you're using a soup pot, you have the advantage of having the wonderful brown stuff at the bottom of the pot called fund, and it helps add to the flavor, right? And then you'll add in the rest of your ingredients, cook low and slow for at least 4 but up to 8 hours. Oh, I almost forgot. You have to add half a cup of beef stock. You need the liquid to help cook it down, because stew meat is still not going to have enough fat to create enough liquid to cook down. You can add more water as needed, if need be, and then adjust your salt as time goes on. This is something that's going to be real simple flavor-wise and just hit all the right notes of comfort, right? And of course, if you see things you'd like to change, you can. And then I personally made this today. Venison bolognese sauce. I got my other 4 portions set aside, cooling down on the counter right now, and to be put in the refrigerator for the rest of the week. I like to cook this for a very long, slow time. It makes the house smell amazing. You can take 1 pound of venison hamburger, half a pound of hot Italian sausage. This is the way I like to make it. I like to have it a bit spicy. That's the way I like it. You can do just regular if you prefer. You can do 2 finely diced shallots or half of a dahlia onion, 1 tablespoon garlic, 2 tablespoons butter, 1 tablespoon Italian season, 2 teaspoons of basil and 2 teaspoons of tarragon, 1 bay leaf, 1 tablespoon brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of cayenne or red pepper flake. Either or you can truly omit it if you don't prefer spicy. 1/4 cup of red wine. It can be cheap stuff, it really doesn't matter, as long as it's red wine. 1 can of crushed tomatoes or whole peeled San Marzano tomatoes. I prefer using the Cinto brand. And salt and pepper to taste. To prepare, you'll brown your meat, then add your onion and garlic, and once they become translucent, you'll add your sauce and wine. Allow it to reduce for at least 30 minutes, then add all your seasonings and cook on medium, low and slow for however long you feel. I like to go about 4 to 6 hours on that one. And last but not least, I have been trying this one, and I think I've perfected it to a point where I actually really like it, is venison enchiladas. I do 1 package of pork chorizo. It has to be pork chorizo. Usually because hamburgers, the venison hamburger is going to be cut with pork anyways, but I also think the pork chorizo just tastes better, personally. Okay, to 1/2 pound of hamburger, 8 corn or flour tortillas, the small ones. I like the corn ones. I think it just has a better flavor. You'll have to heat up corn ones to make them more pliable to roll so they don't crack on you, but I prefer the corn ones. Then you'll do Oaxaca cheese or mozzarella cheese, depending on what you can get in your area. I know for me right now, Oaxaca cheese is pretty hard to find. And you'll do 1 10-ounce can of red enchilada sauce, or you can make your own from a pepper blend. I've made some from adobo, chipotle, and guajillo chili peppers. But it does take a lot more time, and if you're on a time crunch, and I usually am, I would just do the red enchilada sauce. 1/4 diced onion, 2 jalapenos diced. If you don't like spice, you can remove the seeds. I do, so I don't. 1 lime and a handful of chopped cilantro. Fresh cilantro is preferred in this. And then for the bacon gravy, which is just an additional topping I put on. 3 strips of bacon crisp and finely chopped. 1 small can chipotles and adobo sauce. 7-ounce blended. And I do blend it so that way it's nice and creamy and smooth. 1 tablespoon butter and 1 teaspoon of flour. 1/4 cup of beef broth. 2 teaspoons garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, cumin, and paprika. To prepare, you'll brown your meat. Add your onion and jalapenos and set aside in a bowl. The meat will be set aside in a bowl. Layer in some sauce into a large casserole dish, that being your enchilada sauce. You can also add in some of the bacon gravy at that time if you prefer to have it on the bottom, but I don't like soggy bacon, so I usually save it for the top. And then you'll assemble up to 8 or more tacos by placing meat, cilantro, and shredded cheese into your tortillas and rolling up. You'll lay your rolled tortillas into your dish, ladle on more sauce and your gravy, cover with cheese, bake at 350 for 20 minutes, and top with squeezed lime and cilantro. To prepare your gravy, you'll cook the bacon to your desired doneness. I prefer extra crispy, and then you'll finely chop it once it's cooled. Melt your butter, flour, and seasonings into a pan and cook the flour until it's no longer fragrant, meaning you don't smell the flour. Add in your bacon and chipotle blend with broth and stir until no lumps. So, yeah, those are my top recipes for bunsen, the way I like to serve them. And we have made it through the slide, once again, earlier than planned. I don't know why I treat it like a speed run. Sena MasterChef Bonbon. San Marzano's. Yeah, it just has a very good flavor. The San Marzanos especially. I know Romas are really popular to use in spaghetti sauce, right? But I prefer the San Marzanos. It just has a better taste to me. Whereas the Roma's canned can honestly sometimes get that irony taste, and that's not my preference. Cabaret or Merlot. I use a red blend because it's the cheapest. I don't use cooking wine specifically because they usually cut it with a lot of salt, and I don't like having to play a guessing game with the salt, so I like to buy actual wine and not cooking wine, so just whatever's cheapest usually. No cilantro. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't have to add it. That's the fun part about cooking. You can omit things from recipes, right? Sena likes it spicy. I do. Cilantro is the devil's lettuce. Okay. Sena using her ground up gin mate in a recipe ice cold. You don't boil your bacon? You do? Are you okay? Do you do any precaution for Benson parasite? Not really. A lot of times, if it's taken to the butcher, they can inspect the meat themselves, and I generally just trust them. If you got a good butcher, you're pretty much set on meat, right? Is there a process for avoiding CWD mad cow when deer hunting? I'm not sure. I've not run into anything like that, so I'm unsure. Oh boy, cooking wine. Yeah, stay away. Yep, enchiladas aren't enchiladas without cilantro. I mean, I can't be the culture police on that one. Enchiladas are not native to who I am, but I just like making them. I know some of my friends don't like it, but my family loves venison bacon. I also make my jerky from ground venison, easier for some of my family to chew. That's fair. I have never thought to make venison bacon. That makes sense. I know that a lot of times if I go to a hibachi or I cook my own steak, cow steak, I like to do the New York strip because it has that fat cap, and I like to sear it and separate it and make it into my own version of beef bacon, but that's just me. Honestly, all this stuff sounds absolutely wonderful and tasty. Also, congrats on 1 month of activities. It's been a wild, wonderful ride thus far. Thank you. Wow, it's already been a month. That's crazy. I was trying to lurk, but who the F is boiling their bacon? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What kind of disease is that? Cook the crud out of it and check the spread of the disease. Prions can be identified if the dir is acting like a skinwalker. Tex-Mex isn't right without cilantro. Yeah, I guess. Cilantro is an evil soap herb. Look, if you taste it as soap, I'm sorry, but you've lost out on the genetic lottery. I hate to break it to you. Venison enchiladas? Yum! Yup, very delicious stuff. I like to cook bacon and then freeze it to eat later. Freezer bacon will change your life. You know, I grew up eating freezer bacon where you can microwave it to reheat it, right? And I have to say, I am not the biggest fan. I like cooking it fresh, and I like having that bacon grease set aside for the next day or for the evening to cook. So, but maybe that's just me. Kangaroo is really gamey too, like bouncy deer mixed with squirrel. Really? I have never tried kangaroo. I've also never tried squirrel. My father has tried a lot of different game meat. He swears that raccoon is like his favorite. Like he prefers it over venison even, so I don't know why. In his mind they're the cleanest because they clean their food before they eat it, but he says raccoon is the best. I don't know. I mean, he's the one who taught me to cook, so he hasn't steered me wrong before, but I am a little skeptical. Crispy or chewy bacon? Personally, I like crispy bacon. I like it nice and crisped up, because then it just melts in your mouth. And that's the way I prefer it. How get venison? Greg only know how acquire salted granite with dirt. Ah, Greg, if you tuned in earlier, you would learn how to hunt the venison, right? All the slides. Boom, 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 boom. Right. I love my skinwalkers fried. Oh god. Not skinwalkers, guys. Not skinwalkers. No microwave, just freeze and eat. Oh. Like a bacon popsicle? I wish I could say I wasn't judging. But I'm definitely judging. Oh god. Kangaroo has a natural teriyaki taste to it. Does it really? The only meat stuffs I've made is salami, and any recipes for that to try? No, I haven't made any hard salamis before. I definitely don't have like the space to dry age it the way I would want to. But now you make me kind of want to try. I've also really wanted to dry age my own steaks, but I just don't feel like I have the proper equipment for that just yet. Just yet, anyway. Crispy is the best. To me it is. I know it's a matter of preference, but for me I prefer it, yeah. Have you tried making dog food from game meat? When I started hunting, I had to leave my dog behind where I originally come from, so no. But when I did have my dog, I fed him chicken liver and chicken hearts, usually mixed with a dry food blend and some salmon oil for his gut health and raw egg with the shell. That was usually his meals. I usually did a blend because he was an older dog and wasn't used to eating raw, and when they don't grow up eating raw, it can be a big shock to the system, so I tried to do a good blend for him. But yeah. What my parents are feeding him now, I don't even want to know. I think it would break my heart, so. Yeah. Squirrel skin is crispy tough. I want crazy tough. I want to make Furbies out of it. Okay. I'm a city loser. This all seems so fun. You know, you can always take a trip, and if you have a state that you live in that you can get a hunting license in, you can, or a couple states over, you can, depending where you live, locale-wise. And you can always grab a couple buddies or by yourself, go on a solo trip and hunt on your own. It's always feasible. Where I grew up, you can't really hunt too much, and my brother would always, older brothers would always go with my papa to go hunting a little further out of state, a couple states over actually, and they'd hunt small game usually. I don't know why my papa didn't like hunting big game, but he only liked hunting small game. He was definitely a trophy collector, has bobcats and all kinds of stuff pinned to his wall in his garage, because my nana would never allow him to put them up in their home. But they do have bunny pelts in their home that they decorate quite a lot with. So I guess that's where I get that from. This is not unarchived, right? Nope, it's not unarchived. Always finishes in 45 minutes or less. Expert lecture giver. I've always struggled to, like, be asked to lecture. It's like, I'm really concise with it, so I don't know. I can't flesh that out. A lot of times I'll do like a 20-minute lecture and then a 20-minute chat, discuss questions, right? I don't think that's fair for a lecture though. I've fried bacon then boiled it inside a pressure cooker for a cazuela watery soup before. I didn't have much meat that time. Please no judgerino. I mean, whatever works. Did it at least taste good? Spear hunt? Who needs spear when rock makes it personal? Oh my gosh. That's if you don't spook it by the time you get up on it with a rock. Kind of. Cook the bacon, freeze it, eat it. It makes it 10 times better. You are a special breed, my guy. My boss gave me a ton of deer salami Friday. Haven't tried it yet. Definitely try it. Make a nice sandwich. Toast your bread first. I'm a big believer of toasting your bread for just about every sandwich you eat in life. Especially if you're like me and you like to load it up with a bunch of condiments and other fixins, and you're gonna want your bread to have a little crispness to it so it doesn't get soggy, right? Soggy bread is no bueno. I just got here. Whose chicken did you hunt? I wouldn't hunt chicken, but I would love to hunt pheasant. When punch deer can break hen, much better to break a rock. Oh gosh. How are you? Ever tried bear meat? Nope, I haven't. I hear it's pretty greasy and actually not that good. From people who have eaten it, which turns me off from ever wanting to try it. Chicken, grouse, fries, up very similar to chicken. Meat Furby? No! No, no. For city slickers, watch the movie Deliverance for tip on your first hunt. Oh gosh. I take my corgi squirrel hunting. She gets the offal and I get the fur and muscle. Usually I don't use it soon enough and she gets those parts too. Fair enough. Great to hear that she is good at getting it though. Pippa Peltz, shut up! Nope! Shut up! I'm almost always willing to take a newbie hunting. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people love hunting with people who have never hunted before. I know when I first started, people were just very excited to tell me all of their knowledge. People who genuinely enjoy hunting are usually pretty massively excited actually to just be like, this is everything I know, here you go! Sadly, I live in Canada and hunting is near impossible if you're not First Nations or want to spend months of time doing paperwork. Aw, man. Ripperoonie for real, Canada dads. Wow. Sucks to suck! Oh, I kid, but man, that's gotta be rough for sure. Pippa soup. No, I'm ignoring you. I'm ignoring you, chat. Don't even. Rock good, rock friend, throw a rock sound like good idea. Oh my god. Is trapping allowed for small game or do you have to shoot it for it to be legal? I'm actually not sure on the legality of that. I know trapping is technically legal on most private land just because of like vermin, right? Especially if you have like farmland. But I'm not sure. That's a good question. I think it depends on your state usually. Usually. Homemade bread. I need to bake a loaf. I like making homemade bread. I just hate waiting for dough to rise. I'm very impatient about that kind of stuff. Because it's like, I start a recipe and I'm like, I need it now! But I make some decent bread. Usually. I really like making a white bread loaf with sesame on top. It's a nice flavor. Drop big rock from tree drunk. Oh god. Does this hunt include fishing? No. Fishing is usually its own separate thing. A lot of times it's even separated by license. I do like to fish. I feel like the process and handling the meat is pretty similar, of gutting it and having the proper equipment for it, right? But there is going to be a lot more equipment you have to carry for fishing. You're going to have a cooler with ice in it, of course, and all those proper things. I mean, technically you could hunt game with a cooler, but usually that's to hold the beer. So. Toasting in a pan, toasting in a toaster. Toasters are a bad meme that somehow made its way into the collective subconscious. Oh god. No comment. They're just too easy. I'm sorry. They're just too easy. I do prefer toasting in a pan, but sometimes that toaster is real handy, real easy. Real easy stuff. Also, I can't hate on it. I grew up eating poor man's garlic bread and cinnamon sugar bread out of, you know, one of those convection oven toasters. So I can't shit on it too much. Not too much on it. Toasted PB&J is great. Yup, I actually like it sounds a little crazy, but I like taking raisin bread and making a grilled cheese out of it with a little bit of like fig spread in between. It is pretty killer. That sweet and salty combo is pretty great. Pretty great stuff. And I guess it makes sense if you're eating like a cheese board, they oftentimes pair it with fruit, right? So it's like that, but in a sandwich, right? Just go to the Chiloe route and dig a hole in the ground, put scalding hot rocks on the bottom, then a wide leaf, then meat and vegetables, then cover it with another leaf, and then bury it. 10 out of 10. Yup. That's common in a lot of Pacific Island cultures. I've had whole pig roasted underground in Hawaii growing up, and it was very delicious. My family splurged out on their out on their credit cards, and we went to Hawaii at one point in my life. And then they forever regretted it because they went into horrible debt from all the stupid stuff they wanted to do to quote unquote enrich our lives that we can barely remember. I always go fishing with my grandpa when I get the chance to get out of the countryside. It is a lot of fun, not a hunter, but I am a heck of a fisherman. The sea is in my blood. The water runs through his veins. I like fish. Salmon is probably my favorite fish to have. I really want to take a trip to Alaska at some point in my life and do salmon hunt, and I'll really want to hunt sturgeon, but you know, funding and finding the right people to go with and all of that would be a near impossible feat. But it is something that is a very big interest to me. Very big. I've had sturgeon before raw on sushi, and it is delicious, and I would love to be able to say I caught one of my own living fossils, right? Armored fish, right? Depends on your state laws. Yep, it is always going to be heavily dependent on your state's laws. Fortunately and unfortunately, right? A lot of hunting and fishing related stuff is going to be at the state level. I say, for the most part, that's nice to have that self-governance in order, but it's not nice when the self-governance doesn't allow you to fish or hunt. So, I've seen those videos where they trap wild hogs. I don't think it's legal. I've seen the videos in Texas where they shoot wild hogs from helicopters, and that is something I think I would love to try. It just seems really badass. And I actually really like wild boar as meat. I've had it in ragus plenty of times and stroganoffs, and it is delicioso. So, Bread good. Bread is good. Grug from Plumber Tribe. Grug no allowed hunt. Grug sad. Grug ancestors probably disappointed in Grug. Grug wanna go cowabunga. That's what soda bread is for. You know, soda bread still takes time too, though. And I don't like it as much as regular bread usually. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just picky. I'm kind of picky about bread even. Especially for subs. I'm very picky about sub bread. Only thing that's legal to hunt in my country is boar. They're an invasive species, they are, and taste good. Taste delicious. Tricky thing to hunt though. They live in big groups and can F you up. Yup. And they are freaking tough. I mean, some of them take multiple gunshots to beat down. And you know, you get them in a frenzy and oof. Talk about scary. Go for a certain dampers method, go in a woods, come out with a spear to hunt. I know who you're talking about. Oh god. Check your local laws, but trapping is a-okay in most states. Also make sure that if you trap something and it's still alive, that you have a legal way to dispatch it. Yep. Essentially that. Car hunt is legal in West Virginia last I checked. What? Is it really? How cool. The dream is to teach her to herd deer closer to me to shoot. It'll ever happen though. Yeah, it could be, but like, you're always gonna run into the ones that can't, you know, be herded in. Unfortunately, deer are a lot more skittish than like, say, a sheep or a goat even, so good luck to you, brother, though. Pretty sure hogs are fair game to do mostly anything too. For the most part, yeah. Using a claymore on boars, however. Used to live in Hawaii? Oh no. Yeah, no. Just visited it just once. We did like a vacation. My dad took my mom for like an anniversary and then she demanded that all the kids go. And so we did. The next year. And then their parents have gone a couple times more, but we've never gone again. All of us kids. I don't know if I'd want to go again. I'd rather visit more places than revisit the same ones for the most part. But it was really pretty when we went. I think we stayed in Oahu. I think so. I mean, it happened when I was probably about 8 or 9, so it was quite a while ago. There's more FlaVR members in the chat too. Where did you all come from? Is this an invasion? Oh god. I've seen people blow them up with tannerite. Seriously? Oh, that sounds a little mean. Trapping is legal if for survival, but depends on state. Yep. Cinnamon sugar bread, yummy. That was my fave childhood breakfast. Yeah, when you would just like take a slice of white bread, put on a little bit of butter and some cinnamon sugar and toast it up. Or the poor man garlic bread, as my dad called it. We would butter our bread and sprinkle some granulated garlic and some Parmesan cheese, and that was our garlic bread growing up, to the point where if I have real garlic bread, it just doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't. And he would sometimes do it fancy and get a French loaf from Walmart and slice it in half and put some butter and some garlic, usually minced and granulated, with some Parmesan and mozzarella. And that was usually one of my favorites too. Craft singles on spaghetti. I was poor once. Oh man. I don't think I've ever had it that way, but I have had. My mom used to like to make hamburger mac and cheese with Bush's baked beans for some reason, and she would use craft singles on top. And while I don't think it's the best, I do find myself having a unique craving for it every once in a while. I think it's just like that nostalgia beat, right? Grilled cheese with raisin bread sounds interesting and delicious. It is interesting. Don't knock it till you try it. You know, you always gotta be willing to try different things. I used to be like pretty odd little kid, and I would say things like, oh, let's do a FlaVR combo to like my friends at the lunch table. before I was forced into homeschool. And I would be like, let's combine Dorito nacho cheese chip with a piece of Hershey's chocolate. And I don't know why, but it tasted delicious. So, salmon is a lot of fun. Yeah. Fresh caviar. I do like salmon roe, and I do like the really small, man. It's the really small orange fish eggs that they put on top of nigiri or in sushi rolls. Why can't I remember the name? I love those because it doesn't have that pop sensation that some caviar has that kind of gives me the ick. But yeah, they're huge lads. Also tuna, you don't think of tuna as something that is hard to catch. It is a tiny little can, right? But it's massive. No, they're huge. I know they're huge. Swordfish too. Swordfish can like spear you if you try to catch them. Massive, massive fish. But like, I don't know. I grew up watching the River Monsters guy, and just like watching him catch some of this shit was like mind numbing and awe-inspiring, right? Like I would just be like, holy crap, I want to do that. Whatever that is, that's what I want to do. Oh my god, yeah, no. As a kid, I was so obsessed with marine life and doing anything marine related. I was just like, this is my calling. And then somewhere along the way, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely too dumb to do any of that. And I don't have the money to go out and do any of that, so. Salmon on buttered toast with salt and pepper. Yeah, I see how that could work. I mean, you have to remember there's a lox bagel for a reason, right? I love smoked salmon too. I love a lox bagel. I actually really like capers too. Yeah. Javelina are a menace. Yep. What, chibi Sena? I'm okay with this. Thank you. Choppa hunting seems like the most fun, doesn't it? It just seems so unhinged. I live for it. Boar and Vincent are both great. Yup, bait them close to Tannerite. Oh man. Oh, that sounds so violent though. I don't know. I would hate to see like a boar go flying in the air because I Tannerited them. Oh man. As much as I love pigs, boars are just giant rats. Gotta keep the pop down. Yeah, you do have to keep the population down, and I really do like pigs too, but yeah, they breed and breed and breed. And they are very invasive, especially for croplands. But they're delicious. I can't say that a rat's delicious. I wouldn't know, and I don't want to, but boar are delicious at least. I want to use the salmon gun sometime. We hunt in Florida. You hunt iguanas. Don't you guys also do like alligator hunts too when it gets the population gets a little too high sometimes, right? That's an insult to rats. Small Sena cute. Thank you. Small Sena Mrs. Worldwide Bonbon. Yeah, I wanna be well traveled by the time I'm old and gray. I think that would be a pretty impressive feat for me and for the family I come from. None of my mom's family is well traveled, and for the most part, none of my dad's is, so it would feel nice to be one of the ones who actually went out there and did something. The brain doesn't register their own death. Yeah, a lot of times, a lot of those wild animals just keep going. I mean, chickens especially, right? You chop off the head and they're still running around for like, good, what, 20 minutes afterwards? See the picture of the boar-shouldered shield cartilage. I stopped at 3.8. Always get a bigger caliber with feral hogs. Yeah. Hope you had a decent time in the islands. I did. I have a very, very, very vivid memory of laying on the sand on the beach, and the like wave rolled over top of me, and I watched it roll over top of me and then crash into me, like a small little one. And that's like one of the only things I can remember. And then climbing through a banyan tree at this tea lounge. If you live in the Oahu area, you probably know what I'm talking about, but it was quite lovely. But other than that, there was a scorpion in the Verbo or VRBO that we stayed in my bedroom on like the curtain that my dad killed with a hammer. I thought it was a weird looking cricket because it wasn't like any scorpion I'd ever seen. So But yeah, tropical scorpions look a lot different. But yeah, otherwise it was a decent time, and I didn't realize it was scorpion, so it didn't ruin the trip for me. Then what was your favorite trip you've ever taken and why? I'm curious now. My favorite trip was I went to visit my mother's sister up in the PNW area, Pacific Northwest, and we did a huge multi-day road trip. Ended up in the Shasta area of California at one point, and we stopped near a lodge, and it was winter at the time, and my brother had just gotten done driving through some black ice. All of us were a little shaken up. We stopped to eat at a place called like Tail of the Whale or something, and the scene outside of the window was like an iced over lake, and it was one of the most prettiest things I had ever seen, and it is etch-a-sketched into my brain forever. That's one of my favorites. Another one is when I traveled cross-country with my mom for my senior year to check me in for my last year of school, and we stopped at some of our dream locations, and it was just a really pleasant trip for the most part, until she went a little crazy at the end, but I think she was just sleep deprived. Sourdough bread is the best. I like sourdough a lot. Yeah. Fourth stop in Dubai got redundant. I can imagine. I feel like that is part of it, right? Like, my parents once again waste their credit line on taking us to Disney as a child, and it got old after the first couple trips, unfortunately, to the point where I was like, oh yeah, Disney. Right? So, I don't know. I find that a lot of times, once you've seen everything, it usually isn't as fun. But, anytime I've ever gone on a trip with my family, I am the person to first want to leave the hotel room and explore the town on my own. We usually stay in smaller areas, and I just go out on my own and check out the lay of the land and see what's around, and if they have local tiny shops near the hotel, I like to go there and just shop around and see what local delicacies and things are happening. It's one of my favorite things to do. That's literally what we do. That actually sounds good. Yep, butter garlic croissant and maybe cheese. I do like a good croissant. But yeah, the nostalgia scuffed foods, my favorite things from my childhood. Yeah. At this point, yeah. Although I will say my mom's spaghetti sauce is one of my least favorite spaghetti sauces of all time. She'd always take the ragu can. Hate ragu, I'm so sorry. It's just, I've had it too many times, I hate it. And she would take the McCormick spaghetti flavoring packet and pour that in and call it a day. Yeah, not my favorite. So, we usually didn't let my mom cook. What she came up with was usually pretty tragic. Poor PLP make best food, then rich people ruin it. For the most part. Beans and the mac and cheese, odd choice, for sure. For sure. It's essentially chili mac, essentially, right? Without the tomato. But she would just call it a loaded cheeseburger mac. I don't know. I think it was maybe like a Pinterest recipe. She was super heavy into Pinterest at one point, I'm thinking, if I remember correctly. Beans and ground beef can be good. Yeah, of course. I don't know. I mean, they do make something called a cowboy mac and cheese. Like, I know that's a recipe out in the nether, right? Right in the ether or whatever. But, yeah. Not my favorite. Roe. Yeah, like fish eggs, roe. Tobiko. Oh, okay. Thank you. I love the ocean right up until I fell into it. Oh, man. I like the ocean for the most part. I like getting past the wave part and floating for a bit. Although the last couple times I've been into the ocean have been not wonderful experiences. The smell of the beach has been of pure rot and sulfur, almost. And there's always like hazards, like sand sharks and things, always on the shoreline at this point. Any place I've gone, even in Cali and Florida. So both coastlines I've experienced just a little bit of ick. But I won't let it deter me too much. Although I will say I like swimming in fresh bodies of water a bit more. Like if you have a massive lake, I'm going. Reminds me of when I heard people say peanut butter and pickle was delicious. I don't know if it is, but I do love pickles and I do love peanut butter. On my bucket list, I wish to possibly people's elbow bore bear. Oh god. It's my bucket list that I really just want to punch somebody in the face at least once in my life. But I don't really relish the build up to it, so I don't know. Did you hear about the guy that ran the Iditarod with poodles? Nope. This is my calling, she said in a landlocked state. Oh god. Yeah, I was landlocked. I was. Technically, am I still? No, I don't think I am technically landlocked anymore, but county-wise I am. I actually had some smoked salmon before stream tonight. Lucky ducky. The travesty, it's illegal to spear hunt deer. Yeah! Yeah, honestly, yeah. Although I imagine that people just fear the spear. For the moment, pigs can't fly. Remind me to teach you about atlatl, it'll blow your mind. Tannerite and hogs is just an upscale version of hitting groundhogs with a .17. Boa hunts in the Everglades as well. Demolition Man thought they were pretty good. And python. Nice. Iguanas, certain types of snakes, and such are all invasive species. Yeah, yeah. I get that. I believe in Hawaii they have a snake problem, and now they have a mongoose? Is that... Are they mongoose? Mongoose? I think they're mongoose. Mongooses or whatever. Whatever the plural would be. Like a ferret-like rodent or marsupial. I'm not sure if they're one or the other. To hunt the snakes and lizards. But now they're also invasive. I don't know. It was in like a little Polynesian cultural experience thing. Also, you should do it. Even though Puerto Rico is still part of the US, it was a big life-changing experience. Travel is always wonderful and interesting. I definitely want to visit PR. I definitely want to visit PR. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Puerto Ricans involved in FlaVR, so I definitely want to visit PR. That's because a fair amount of the chicken's brain is lower than people think. Really? Whale tails? It was just aquatic themed, not in any lewd way. Oh no, my music stopped. I guess we will find another one. Give me momento. I'll put it on. Let's do this one. Oh, world beat, I guess. Still banjo heavy. Disney hate. Oh no. Hi, Sena. What's your thoughts on the Arctic winter hellscape sweeping across the USA? I don't know. I feel like it was bound to happen. I don't know. I feel like something like this happens just about every 5 years. Or you get heavy blizzard after heavy blizzard. I know like the northeastern side of the US is getting pelted pretty hard, right? So, speaking of Disney, what kind of dog is Goofy? The anthropomorphic kind, apparently. Pluto isn't. Poor Pluto. Pluto was actually my favorite character growing up. Floridian beaches are better than California's. I can agree to that. Fresh water over salt water. Yeah, I kind of feel that way. Red tide smell. Is it? Is that what it is? It's just a very unpleasant smell all around. Peanut butter, apples, and cheese on crackers. Y'all. Lack of punchable target. Okay, if you're gonna punch someone, throw with your shoulder and aim with your fist knuckle. Yeah, I mean, I know how to throw a punch, I just haven't had the opportunity, you know what I mean? Go to a boxing gym. Trading punches is pretty fun. Honestly, getting punched in the gut hurts more. I've been punched in the gut, actually, before. and I've been elbowed in the gut before, so yeah. I usually am not the first to fight back though. A lot of times I don't want to get in trouble for fighting back, so I just take the beating. Also, aim for the temple or throat, not the jaw. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a fair enough place to aim. It is. It feels like a more debilitating place to hit anyways, to strike, right? Plus the jaw is right, like, gonna be tougher to hit, right? Like, it's gonna be a harder hit, right, on your fist because of their bone. Been fishing for tuna off the East Coast, also caught a shark. It was delicious. Was it really? I have always wondered how a shark would taste. Like, I just wonder where you could find it, like, legally, too. I thought Hawaii had a wild chicken problem. Do they? I can't say. I'm not, like, heavily into what's going on over there. But I only know what I remember from touring it, like, oh, I don't know, 10 plus years ago. More than, no, yeah, 10 plus years ago. Oftentimes I just want to some parts far off beach and dive hunt for jibas, hibas, crabs, and limpets or mussels. I actually really don't like mussels. I've tried so hard to get into it, but mollusks are just not my favorite. Oysters, mussels, clams. I think scallops are probably the only mussel I enjoy, and that's just because the slimy texture or chewy texture is all but eliminated, and it's more like a buttery piece of steak, whereas mussels and clams and oysters almost always have that chewy thing to it, and it's just not my favorite. But my siblings love mussels, and anytime they go to an Italian place or a Mediterranean place, they get an entire appetizer of mussels, and I have to wait for my entree to come. So, yeah. Oftentimes, I just went to some far off. Oh, okay, I visited PR. It was nice. I recommended visiting St. Lucia too. Yeah. I want to visit a lot of the territories before I venture too far out. But I definitely know I have like my tier list of where I'd like to go country-wise out of country first. I definitely want to go to Japan first, and then Europe-wise I'd go to Italy, and I wouldn't go to like England, but I would like to see Scotland or Ireland, but not England. I think I would really want to avoid London especially. I don't think I'd ever want to visit France. I just don't. It just doesn't interest me. And French cuisine is, for the most part, not my favorite. Yeah. It's been super mild where I am so far. Yeah. Good thing I'm down in Florida for this winter. My brother is a trucker. He got delayed because I-80 was completely shut down. Oh. 80 West? How? On the West Coast, we trade our bad weather with Southeast Asia for Pacific reasons. Yeah. Like, I mean, when the huge tsunami happened after the big earthquakes in Japan, I'm pretty sure there was, a lot heading towards, Hawaii and West Coast way after the fact, right? Typical landlubber. So how do you hunt the most dangerous game? I think I missed that part. I actually did not discuss anything regarding hunting super dangerous game. I think for the most part, it's not something that interests me because a lot of my hunting is done for pelts or for meat. And I don't think I'd ever want to eat puma or bobcat or bear. But I do know that a lot of the states that allow you to hunt bigger game usually allow you to hunt bear too. But there's limits on it. And seeing a bear in the wild has been increasingly rarer these days, to my understanding, right? You can hand scrape against the teeth and you'll get an infection. Oh, deesh. Hawaii has a wild everything problem. Yep, everyone's bringing in the bad with them. Shark fin soup is legal in Hong Kong. Well, it was. Don't know about now. It was meh. Kind of like weak extra gelatinous fish stock. That sounds horrible. Shark is a white fish. Only certain types are okay to eat. Gotcha. Huh. Gotcha. I didn't realize that they were a whitefish. I'm not huge on whitefish. Personally, I like to have it either blackened or fried in like a beer batter. My favorite way to fry whitefish is to take pancake batter or pancake mix it with a light beer, and fry it in that. It's just my preference. I think it just adds a nice sweet flavor to the fish. So, I also feel like whitefish is just a little too bland for my taste. Tons of chickens in Kauai. Huh. Fried clam strips are pretty good when they aren't overcooked. Okay, okay. I mean, I feel like I'd like to try razor clams. Just because they're, you know, bigger, so I feel like there's more surface area for it to not be too rubbery. But I don't know. I want to visit Prague. I'd like to visit Prague. I really wanted to visit Russia for a lot of the architecture, but I imagine it would be pretty hard to visit right now. I visited friends in Puerto Rico. Staying there for a couple weeks was rough because of the heat, but it was a cool place with good food. Yeah, I imagine the heat would be a little overwhelming, especially if you're not used to like humid heat. I assume it's humid. Yeah. It's like how I want to visit Japan, but only Hokkaido. I want to travel all throughout Japan, actually, and I would like to visit in every single separate season. Just to see how things change, you know? I would love to do Okansens, I believe, Okansens, the hot springs visits, and I would like to do a food tour, and yeah, no, I want to do the Shibuya with all the anime nerd stuff. I want to do all of it, and I want to visit the parks too. It just sounds like a lot of fun, and I really, really want to go to the Studio Ghibli park, so yeah. Paris Fever comes to mind. I'm not finishing it. I like French food. Yeah, I mean, like, there's certain things that I think are great, like beef bourguignon or things like that. A lot of their stews are really amazing. I think ratatouille is pretty good, actually, like, outside the meme of the movie, which is an excellent movie, but I like the flavor of it. Italy is a fun time. Be ready to be scared of their driving. Yeah, but I have to imagine it can't be as bad as some parts of Africa and India. Or maybe it can, I don't know. I feel like a lot of it's walkable. I think that's the appeal of Europe, is a lot of Europe is walkable. So, and I like to walk. So, I like to walk around, find things, look at things. I hate being stuck in a car if I'm not the one driving. So, we can actually fish for some types of shark here in Brazil, like sandbar. I've eaten before, it's pretty nice, but mutton snapper is better. Gotcha! Gotcha. I like red snapper, those are pretty good. Alex French Guy Cooking is a great channel. Gotcha. I'll have to check it out. Have you ever hunt human? Nope! Nope! Can't say that I have! Cat meat is extremely lean, probably also rancid tasting. I can imagine. I don't think I'd ever really want to try it, or dog meat. Like, I know that a lot of parts of Asia and Southeast Asia still eat cat meat and dog meat. It's a really inexpensive meat, and I definitely am not knocking it, but I don't think I'd want to try it. I also know that a lot of parts of like Asia and Africa eat like bug meat, and part of me is like, huh, I wonder, but another part of me is like, that's scary, I don't want to try it. But I don't know, I try to be a little on the open-minded side, but sometimes those hang-ups really get to the better of me, right? Visit family in Greece, love hanging out on the islands, spear gun fishing, and just having fun on the water. That sounds so much fun. Michigan has a bear tag lottery. Do they really? Huh. But is there a lot of bears you run into in Michigan? How to hunt dangerous game. Don't miss. No kidding. Come up to North Canada, we can go hunt some moose. Are moose good? Like, I have to imagine it's similar to venison or elk. I know elk is quite delicious, but I wonder. And moose are, you know, pretty combatant, right? Like wild boar almost. I use chocolate on Valentine's Day. Is it just me? I've always celebrated Valentine's Day as a family holiday, so I always give chocolates to my siblings and parents. And then I usually pick one of my girlfriends to send a bouquet of flowers to, and my mom, because my dad doesn't ever, because their anniversary is super close to Valentine's Day, he's like, you have to pick one or the other. So she chose anniversaries, so I send her a bouquet of flowers every Valentine's Day now too. And so I've always treated it like a family holiday and just a way for me to like show my appreciation and love for the people in my life rather than a romantic holiday. But I'm wondering, is that like weird or I just don't want it to be like a day that I begrudge, so I try to spin it in a different light, I guess. Cat don't taste good. Bear is okay, but oily and stringy. See, I have such a strong texture aversion when it comes to certain meat. Like, the word stringy already makes me go to hell no. My mom was born and raised in Hawaii because she was a Navy brat, but I've never been. Oh, I liked it. But if I went back, I'd have to be more into the nature side than the beach side at this point, because otherwise I'd feel like it would be too much of same. Australia and Japan, Korea for the Pacific, Italy and Portugal are awesome for the Mediterranean. Def hit those places. Gotcha. I don't know if I'd visit Korea personally, and I really don't know if I'd visit Australia. I don't know. Australia has like some of the most dangerous animals, right? But I don't know. Australia's never been like in my mind. I'd rather go to like the Antarctic at that point if I'm gonna be so far south. The most dangerous game is a short story. You'll love it. Gotcha. Russia was a cool place to visit. I imagine so. It just seems really nice. And I don't know. I just like the idea of it. I want to visit Helsinki, Finland really bad because that's probably where I'd prefer to see the Northern Lights for the first time. And then they have like mobile saunas where you can like drink shots of like alcohol. I don't know why, but that just sounds super cool to me, and it's something I want to do. My great grandparents on my dad's side had to flee from Russia. Oh no, I'm sorry. Onsen. Yes, sorry. Well, I said just Hokkaido, Okinawa, and Osaka are also where I want to visit. Yeah. I definitely want to visit Tokyo. I know there's definitely an appeal there and things to do. I don't think I want to do too much like beachside stuff in Japan either. I feel like I'm beached out for a little bit. Like I've been to the beach too much in my life to crave going. Japan is a comfy place, but don't expect an anime except Akihabara. That place is exactly like an anime on most days. Yeah, no, I know that much at least. I would never like... I know there's a lot of respect that you have to have as a foreigner to the culture and be polite, so I at least know that much. I would never just go in like speaking the few Japanese phrases I've learned off of sub. Like I would never. That would just be so cringe and so bad. But yeah, no, I'd love to visit. I feel like personally I would like to work on actually learning Japanese before I'd go, just because like I know there's not such a strict language barrier because there is so much English-friendly stuff, but I would like to visit a lot more of the northern half, and I feel like knowing the language would be a lot more beneficial at that point. I was surprised at how early everything shuts down at Akihabara at night. Really? I'm wondering now how, like, early things close. I wonder what's early for them, you know? My college is in the Pacific Northwest on the coast, and one of my friends is a Japanese foreign student. He taught us how to make a fish stew using steelhead we caught at the jetty. That sounds really nice. I personally don't think I've ever... No, I don't think I've ever had, like, a seafood stew unless we're counting Thai food, like tom yum, or shrimp, but I don't think I've ever had, like, full-on fish in stew or soup. What do you usually use when hunting land animals? Like I use a 3006. There you go. M1 Garand. Out of ammo. So not M1 Garand. And then your standard Winchester pump action rifle. 270. Grasshopper meat is okay. At best, you don't miss anything. Yeah, I feel like that's fair. I've eaten ants and they're pretty good. Grasshopper meat is a meme. Rome was very walkable. The driving in common is mostly because crosswalks are a theory and bicyclists are suicidal speed bumps. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Noted. I don't think I want to visit too much of the city stuff if I visit Italy. So I hope that the driving is less crazy and the more countryside stuff. Try to eat about every meat that's put in front of me. I've eaten some weird stuff. I've gotten better about being picky, but salute to you. I will eat the people pushing to make us eat bugs before. Alrighty. What the? A VTuber talking about game? That's so awesome. Thanks! Thanks for tuning in. It's certainly different, but that sounds better. Giving your siblings Valentine's is perfectly normal in the South. Okay. Came in late, listened at 2 times 2 to catch up. Fun stream. Thanks. Valentine's Day is weird for me because it's my birthday. Getting dinner reservations is impossible. I mean, if you make it like 2 weeks in advance, you might be able to though. Yeah, don't eat grasshopper. It's not worth it. Gotcha. Gotcha. I don't think I was ever really planning on it. Drop bears too in Australia. Very dangerous. Oof. Australia was awesome, especially for Americans. They like our accent. You know what? I have never been someone who has gone crazy over accents. I don't know. I just feel like it's just your voice. I just don't get the appeal of accents for the most part. I wish I did, but I just don't. It's just like, okay, you're talking to me. Your accent's different. Okay. And but I know most Americans love Australian and British accents or anything that's like different and smooth sounding, right? But I don't know. If anything, I might just make fun of how you say something in English if you're like Australian or British, right? You know what is a good meat? Boar. Yes, I've already said that! Drop bears are evil. Gosh, I don't even know what a drop bear is. Outside of Chu Tokyo, very little people can speak English. Yeah, I feel like exactly that, yeah. Although I assume Okinawa has a lot of English speakers just because of the amount of bases there. I honestly like to be the kind of person who likes to explore the countryside. I like to go off the beaten path. I like cities too, but I also like sightseeing more. Yeah, I'm kind of in that vein where I just prefer to just kind of roam around a bit more rather than be in the hustle and bustle. I feel like I've had enough hustle and bustle for a lifetime at this point. I have an uncle born on 1st of January. He gets few presents, but he says everyone around the world throws fireworks for him. That's a positive way to look at it, right? 8 to 9 p.m. There wasn't much of a late night life there that I saw. Guess all the otaku go home watching me. I guess so. 8 to 9. Huh. That's like most small towns in America. That's interesting. If you try speaking Japanese, they will really open up to you because they themselves are self-conscious of trying English. They want to hear you try and they'll practice English on you. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Tom yum is seafood soup. Yee. I like tom kha or tom kha. I think it's tom kha, pronounced that way, but it's my favorite of like the Thai soups. It's like a coconut, a little bit spicy, very delicious. I like it mainly with veggies, but yeah. I've heard from a Frenchie that French people dislike North Americans and the English, but love South Americans and Spaniards, so if you go speak in Spanish instead of gringo. Duly noted. Oh nice, I feel like the both action personally. I like the feel of it too. I do too. Yeah. I am always going to prefer the way a bull action feels. Nice. Is there going to be other game meat streams like boar and turkey? I'd love to hear your recipes on possum and rabbit as well. I wish there was, but I haven't actually gotten to like catch a lot of game meat outside of deer. But if I get more game meat under my belt, I would be more than happy to do a separate stream on that. Sauna is a good time. Get sweaty, beat your shoulders with branches, down a shot of something impossible to pronounce in English, then jump face first into a pile of snow until cold enough to go back in. Yeah, see, that sounds really fun. Orgullo Español. Italian freeways are rush hour density moving at full speed. That sounds terrifying. Being a lefty has made it difficult to find a good feeling bolt action. I mean, they do make left-handed. I shoot left-handed as well. All of my guns are left-handed. And I mean, it works for me. I am what you would consider like a true ambidextrous, but yeah. And you can also get ambi style guns and have them be ambidextrous as well if you are left-handed. it's something you can do, and it's usually not at that much higher cost or at no extra cost. This was a lot of fun, Sena. I'm honestly glad you talked about gaming. Thanks! Yeah. It was something I had been wanting to do since it was mentioned, so yeah. I have people who go crazy over accents. Yeah, I have too. I mean, my mom loves accents. I don't know. I know it's there. Obviously, I recognize it, but I'm not like, oh my god. Oh my god, he's speaking in a Scottish accent. Oh my god. Swoon. I'm like, okay. Nice to meet you anyway. Southern accents are hot to me. Stop. No, accents shouldn't be hot. Just the people behind them, right? No appeal to accents. My Puerto Rican accent is horrible. I don't know. I think a lot of accents are just fun to hear, but not something that I'm like, oh my god, about, you know? Does Midwest even have an accent? I feel like the accent that I speak in normally is what I would consider like just the straight accent of America, where it's just like everything is just spoken in a straight manner. And I find that in lots of parts of the US, this is just kind of the normal bland accent where there's no twang or fun to it. But I don't know. Will you be my Valentine, Sena? No. No. Now you're the first one to be rejected. You're welcome. There was some advance on lab-grown meat recently. No, never mind grasshoppers. We get synthetic mammoth meat soon enough. I'm pretty sure sheep meat and shoot, what was the other one? But sheep meat has been cloned at least, right? I'm pretty sure in sheeps themselves, right? It's very strange. Okinawan accent of Japanese is pain, not gonna lie. Really? Aw. I can't speak much for driving outside of Rome. Naples seemed tamer, but don't quote me. If you're a history nerd, Pompeii is really cool. I definitely want to see Pompeii. I'm definitely a history nerd. I definitely want to see Pompeii, and I really want to visit Florence. And I want to visit, my dad was stationed in the army long time ago in Italy, and I'd like to visit that area too. So, yeah. Oki is very English friendly, but knowing little Japanese unlocks the DLC. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, that's gotta be true, right? When you learn a different language and you go into a place where that's the primary language, I feel like it's almost just like a respect thing at that point, right? Yes, Tomka! Yay! Jawoon knows! Thank you, Jawoon! A drop bear is a koala. Oh! Okay. Yes, the chlamydia bears. Gotcha. Thai cuisine is fantastic, especially their curries and meat. I agree. I freaking love Thai food. I am not the pad Thai kind of girl. I like pad Thai. I've had many different types of pad Thai where it's been just cooked in many different ways. I've had people do it the very tamarind, classic heavy tamarind style, and I've had people do tomato, which is very different. My favorite way I've had it is pad lao with peanut sauce. It's more soy sauce based, and yeah, it's more like the Laos style and pad Thai to my knowledge. At least that's what the shop guy told me. But I also like pad woon sin, and there is the Thai name for it, but it eludes me right now. But it's essentially drunken noodles. I like noodle dishes; those are usually my favorite. But I also like some places call it beef salad, and then other places call it something else. Oh my goodness, it's eluding. It's beef with like rice and then like lettuce and spinach and like vegetable medley, and it's very sweet. And then I like I like food. I just like food. I was surprised at how much English that Japanese speak. I mean, there's just so much media though that's heavily like, you know, influenced on people's language patterns all across the world, right? And English is so pushed in so many different countries, I feel, especially to like try and bring tourism, right? So Camping gear review win. That'd be a really fun one to do. That'd be a really fun one to do. Bug out bag would also be fun to do. Reviewing YouTuber cooking products. That'd be fun. Gun review. I would have to probably do that one on Twitch, but that would be fun. If you find a train schedule in English, keep it. It unlocks fast travel for the whole country. Gotcha. A fellow lefty shooter. Yup. Say for chopping lumber to get firewood for the meat. Do you use left hand or right-handed axe? Let me see. I think for chopping I would use right-handed. And for cutting meat, it depends actually. I find myself switching. Sometimes I switch for writing and drawing too sometimes. So, yeah. Singapore is like Japan, but it's all English. Gotcha. I have a southern accent. Ooh. Oh. As a Spanish speaker, I get a lot of teasing for my V's and B's. Yeah. I think that's the big drawback of having any sort of heavy accent is people are bound to like pick on you for it, right? Yeah. It's unfortunate because it's like seemingly a kind of asinine thing to pick on, but people gonna pick. Look, just about the only hot thing I can do is accents. Oh my god. The irony is that English is the world's lingua franca. The Australian girls made me repeat things a lot to hear me speak. Oh gosh, I'm sure. Yeah, my dad's a southerner, so when he learned, he became fluent in Italian, but they would just laugh their asses off at his pronunciation because he was so southern in his pronunciation. But it got better over time. Sena OMG, that accent is so hot bonbon. No! No, 'tis not true! This is true, you don't seem to have much of an accent. Yeah, I don't for the most part. Unless I'm off the phone with like my family, then the southern comes real heavy. And it's that Appalachia southern too, because like, it's very different. It's very long, drawn out syllables, and you talk a little slower. So, at least that's the way it sounds to me. I could be wrong. Mammoth meat sounds awesome. It does, but then it makes me think elephant meat, and then that makes me a little sad because I like elephants. Sheep cloning, yeah, yep. Need me some basil. History nerd, let's go. Yep, I like history and I like sciences, like earth science and biology and things like that. Not so much like theories, that is. But the only thing I'm not good at is math. I did pretty good in all my subjects and actually really loved learning. That is the only thing I miss about school is like how much I would learn. So, Sena the scholar. Abhorrent creatures, a man, the animal must have soul for it to be nutritious. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're all already eating cloned meat. Eh? Cutting horses are cloned down in Texas. Oh. Has anyone had horse? Is it delicious or no? I don't know. I always feel like horses are questionably necessary to life. Like, you can't do much with them. They're just kind of like a pretty pet. And I don't know if it's too taboo to eat horse meat, but I don't know. I love Chinese history. Can we talk about all the kingdoms for hours? Oh, like all the dynasties? Those are super fun to learn about. And then like all the the way the courtesans and the royalty dressed compared to like peasantry and things like that and the caste systems. Those are really interesting to learn about. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Capri and the Amalfi Coast in general is another place in Italy we're seeing. I'd like to visit Capri. And Venice. I do want to see the sinking city. Hi, Niana! Texan here. Love the stream so far. I've been hunting several times with my dad, mainly fishing, and I love it. Oh, I'm glad you like the stream. Thank you. Deathly chlamydia bear. Very cute. I don't know. Their eyes kind of creep me out. They look like humans in suits sometimes. You know, kind of like Doodles do, the dog breed. Like sometimes they just look like a man in a suit. It's a little unnerving. Sena, you have my culinary respect. Thank you! Thank you. Beef salad sounds like an oxymoron to me. A little bit. It's like the bastardized name. There's definitely like an actual name for it. I just can't. You know what? I'm just gonna look up my Thai spot I used to go to in college, because then I'll be able to figure it out. I'll be a uno momento. Let me see. What the hell do you call it? They called it... Ah, yum noir. Yum noir. I liked it a lot. Yeah. And I've liked duck a little bit too here and there. But it has to be cooked right. Oh my lord. A hunter likes guns and is a history buff. Took all my boxes off, why don't you? Somebody get this girl an animated model. I'm working on it. Debut on Tuesday. Debut on Tuesday. Be tuned. Tune in. I think I'm gonna debut and then do end it, do an unarchived Christmas karaoke. Same day. Yeah. Christmas tree review. I'd love to. I have some Christmas themed things planned for next week, but that is a great idea. I personally love the look of blue spruce for a Christmas tree, but it is very prickly, so pros and cons. Ooh, camping gear review. Yep, didn't know your dad was deployed. No, he was in the army before he had ever even met my mom. He like lived an entire adult life. Then he got out and then he met my mom. So my dad is quite a bit older than my mom, so yeah. Axes have handedness. They can. Just the way you grip things. I took 3 years of Japanese in high school forever ago. Teacher was terrible. Only thing I can remember to this day is counting 1 to 99. Do plan to relearn it though. That's fair enough. Anytime I've tried to learn Spanish in the school setting has not been the most fun for me. I always learned more from friends outside of it. And that, and like the Spanish you learn in school is usually the Spaniard dialect, and for the most part, the US doesn't use the Spaniard dialect. It's gonna be based on where you're at. You have the Mexican dialect, and the Puerto Rican dialect, and the Dominican dialect, and Cubano, and so on and so forth. Every Latin area is gonna have a different dialect. Some Latin areas don't even speak Spanish, like Brazil, I think, speaks almost strictly Brazilian Portuguese. So, yeah. And then obviously the Chilean dialect is like a whole nother beast, Argentinian, all of it. Yep. Hate is gonna hate. Yep. But how do you should have gone with those self-described baby hands of yours? It's not hard. I mean, I have proper gun safety. I rest my hand normal. I don't put my hand in the trigger pull at all until I'm ready to actually pull the trigger. I don't know. I just shoot a gun like you shoot a gun. The axis doesn't have handedness, but the way you hold it does. Yep. Fettuccine. Fettuccine or fettuccine. I grew up between two countries and don't have an accent either, so everyone makes fun of my accent no matter where I am. Yeah. It just seems like a low-hanging fruit to pick on, though. Now that is country, lol. Appalachia, she one of my people. One of us. My dad is Appalachian. But my mom is like Louisianan, so like Bayou. But yeah. Have you met anyone with a Baumhauer accent? No. Horse is greasy. Horse is greasy too? Gotcha. Horse tastes like a less flavored beef. Well, that sounds kind of sad. Hi, Niana. How are you today, lovely? Three Kingdoms history fun. Yes. Three Kingdoms love! Venice and Rome are both really cool. If you go to Rome, I would recommend going to the Borghese and Vatican Museum. I'd love to visit the Vatican Museum, but the Vatican is like... the whole lore and history behind it is just so interesting and intriguing and even a little spooky sometimes. I'd love to be able to visit something as cool as like the Vatican City, but I'm pretty sure you can't get in, right? Or am I getting mixed up with Mormonism? I'm not sure. I like learning about other like religions and different sects of different faiths. So it's always been... I am a big theology nerd too. Like, it's something I just enjoy doing. Because I feel like it helps you understand a common ground a bit more with other people around you. Rome is an amazing place to go to if you like architecture. Lots of really cool buildings. I do love architecture a lot. Most of my camera roll is architecture. I'm actually looking at getting my master's in archaeology. History is right up my alley. Yep, archaeology is really fun too. Gosh, what a cool master's to get. Ah, jealous. If you go to Rome, make sure to not accept any gift from people, by the way. They will try to force you to give them money. Yeah, I don't know. I've visited New York City, Times Square. I visited Las Vegas on the Strip. They're the same way. So you learn to just say no. Or not even interact. That's usually the better rule of thumb, I think. Then it's certainly a catch. Ah! No! Mine definitely tasted thaw, so I can't judge fairly. Gotcha. Debut 2 sounds exciting. Yee! Whoa, karaoke? Yup. It's gotta be time for it. It's gotta be time. We're approaching Christmas really fast. I am planning to do a Christmas Day stream of just a watch along for maybe a couple Christmas movies. Because, well, Christmas Day is a pretty slow day for me. So I figured why not? And for the people who, like, you know, tune in at the evening and have nothing left to do, or maybe not have anything at all to do, might be nice. So, yeah. Argentina is a place I want to visit someday. My dad used to travel to Buenos Aires for work when I was young. Always brought back cool stuff and had a lot of stories to tell. Oh yeah, that sounds cool. The rule 1 of gun safety, always have fun. Rule 2, flag everyone around you with a loaded gun. Cajun, let's go! Let's not forget the bizcocho in one part of PR means cake, but another city is slang for oh, great! What did you just make me say? Are you part Cajun? Yeah, I would say so. We have the big, my dad likes to cook with that big, deep, trough-like pot. Grown up having gumbo, dirty rice, jambalaya, the likes, etouffee, all the things. Let's break into the Vatican vaults. Ah! The Vatican lets you in, there are tours. Gotcha! Yeah, that sounds really cool. But only into some areas. That makes sense. A lot of that stuff is closed for private practice, I assume. My uncle was pretty high up in the Mormon church. Yeah, that's... I don't know. I feel iffy. It's like a very interesting history behind Mormonism, right? You like architecture? You're making me want to share photos of San Juan. I have seen pictures of San Juan. It's very pretty. You should watch the Wendigoon. I do watch the Wendigoon. I love Wendigoon. His theology videos are amazing. And his Dante Inferno series is one of my favorites. Exposed! He's definitely actually one of my favorite video essay YouTubers. I almost said VTuber. Holy crap. I went too deep! One of my favorite video essay YouTubers for sure. For sure. Yeah, covers so much of my special interests too. But yeah, anytime I put them on, I'm like, that's me for real, for real. You're in too deep, the rabbit hole! The yabbit hole. Live action. A fleshy! Wendigoon VTuber wing. Could you imagine? How do you know if an animal is good to eat or not? Trial and error for the most part, but you can also just base it off of what the internet tells you, Marie. For the most part, things that are on the bigger side are usually decently flavored. But if you go too big, then it gets too gross. I don't know. You gotta keep it on the safe side. I see you don't like French food. You've had Cajun, which is like French food, but better so often that French doesn't do anything for you. Yeah, and I do like spicier foods, so like, I feel like a lot of French food is just a little too bland for me. So, yeah. But their slow cooked stuff is great. But anything slow cooked is great for the most part. Yeah. I like his essay of Paradise Lost. Yes, the Genesis story from Satan's perspective, not a pro-Satan story. Yeah. And I liked his history on like biblical angels. Like, that was cool too. Need a Win to Dead Sena Club. Ha! Ha! Wendigoon for Holostars E-Engine too, that way the CIA can't link the conspiracies back to him. Could you imagine? My brother administered the papal house in the Vatican when he was in the Legion of Christ. He told me that there's no politics more sanguinary than Vatican politics. Sanguinary. I can imagine. I feel like, just in my experience growing up in churches, was a lot of the politics behind churches and religion always seemed to be a lot more heated, a lot more serious than like anything else going on in the world. And when you're so deeply entrenched in religion, sometimes you run the risk of like that being your world, right? So I don't know, everything in moderation, right? Low-key want to get a biblically accurate angel tattoo. Same, that would be so cool, right? Like one of the seraphims, or like an eye with all the wings. Oh my gosh, my mom, when I had a nightmare as a little girl, my mom, well, I can't go to her for jack shit, dude. I went to her and I was like, I had a nightmare. She's like, oh, Sena, here, come here, I'll pray with you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And as she's praying, she's like, and God, just remind her that there's angels watching her with eyes all around them and all over them. And I was like, I'm definitely having another nightmare, thanks. Man, I gotta say, firstly, definitely subscribe, but man, you are very learned and scholarly. I was raised Christian, so I'd love to dive into theology too. Now I just want to sit down and talk with you. Oh, thanks for subscribing. I mean, I definitely am trying not to like lean too heavily into like preaching stuff, you know, like I don't want to indoctrinate anybody. That is not my goal. I'm just here to have fun, but I definitely like theology, and I think it's really fun to learn about all those different things. So yeah. Yago, gonna end up seeing people glow in the dark at night. His home, I mean, no. So I just should do a theology stream. It would be fun. When I was in college, I took, as one of my extracurriculars, or my electives, I guess, I took a couple of theology courses. And I got to learn about so many different things. Like, I really liked learning about Sikhism too. That was really cool. Dang, Bible, you scary, right? Right? You had a bad dream. Well, grow up, kiddo. Yeah, no, seriously. I want to get a Warhammer 40k chainsaw sword with a bunch of tiny cherubims around it as the servitors. Nerd alert. Watching her with all the eyes. Yeah. As a tattoo. Nightmare skill issue. Yes, very much skill issue. Should probably specify. Honestly, you're doing really good with your VTubing activities. You're a really interesting lady. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please indoctrinate us. That will make you a true VTuber. Ah. What did Sena major in? I majored in animation, actually. And I don't use it. I'm using it for the first time in like 2 years now, making my rigged model. So, yeah. It was a waste. It was a waste of money and time. Yeah. Animation, yep. Yep. Yep, animation, and I minored in illustration, yep. I thought, you know, I'm gonna get the practical art degree, and then realized it's still highly impractical to think you're gonna make it in the animation industry. So, lesson learned. Sad it took me 4 years. This kind of goes in hand with theology, but what about mythology? Oh, I like mythology too. Like Greek mythology. I like Chinese and Japanese mythology. Yeah, I'm super into that kind of stuff. It's just super interesting to me. And it's just like, I think I am super into seeing how other people tell the world around them their own culture and history, and, you know, writing their own mythos and theology and all of the things. I think it's cool. My condolences. Just throw pepper at the angel, it will hit an eye at least. Learning something to never use it, literally me for real, right? That's the true American way. Clearly not. You are now the DIY bear. Yep, I actually kind of want to do a Build-A-Bear tier list at some point too. Yeah, but I don't know when. Eventually. I'm like super into Build-A-Bears, but I feel like the quality's gone down a lot in the years and the price has only gone up, so as for most things. Majored in IT and economics, never was given a chance to use it anywhere. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that IT is pretty profitable, but just depends on the market you're getting into. Oh, I'm friends with a couple art and theater majors, but never met anyone with an animation major. That's cool. Yeah. I'm actually pretty good at 2D framework animation, like, you know, page by page, flip note Hatna type shit, but or Hatina. I like Nordic mythology. Yep. Yeah, no, it's all great. Everyone in their 20s who didn't go to college debating the great sleep versus military right now. Yikes. Yep. Yeah. It's a hard decision to make. I don't wish it on anyone at this point. It was a hard decision for me, but I knew I had to get out and explore the world, and college was the only way I was ever going to get to do that. So I picked somewhere as far as humanly possible from my home and went there. And that is the only thing I don't regret about it, is getting out and, you know, trying to improve my worldview and not be so limited. Will you do a Build-A-Bear ranch streams too? Just one. I think I'll leave it to just one. That's why I went to college in my 30s. You know, I might actually end up going back at some point, but I don't know. IT is shrinking with cloud. Oh, really? That makes some sense, I guess. IT is profitable, but also super saturated. Yeah, and sometimes you really have to know where to look for it for working. Does Sena have Discord or FlaVR? I mean, if you want to interact, I would say chat interaction here, or Twitter is usually the best way. We do have like a private staff one, and then I believe there's a fan one that's been released, but we're not on it. So yeah, I think for now we're holding off. At least I know I am, just because I don't think we'd have the proper mods set up for that, and I don't really want to just open the floodgates. So yeah, I started watching VTubers last week, and I've heard about Build-A-Bear more in the last 2 weeks than in my entire life. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh gosh. Thanks, Jumoon. Good looking out. Man, so much bots. Wow. They came in a mass just now. Yeah, so many of the gods have different incarnations. Yep. Understand why I don't trust these guys and myself. It's not even like a trust thing. It's just like I don't know. I'm just typically, I like to think myself private, and I feel like when it comes to like Discord, they can reach you at any time of day, and I would feel so much pressure to like constantly interact, and I feel like it would just be a conflict of interest at that point. So for now it's gotta stay a little bit less. It's getting late for Plumber Tribe, so Grug, go sleep now. Have a good night. Have a good night. Good luck with rigging. Thank you very much. So no, they found a girl for you. Oh god. OMG, Sena, you've done it. You are popular enough to get botted. Yes, good job, Julian, for sure. Ministry starting soon. Okay. Gotcha. You know what we need? We need goths with sunny personalities. Or at least pastel goths with sunny personalities. I actually love goth stuff. I think the music's good. I think a lot of the fashion is good. It's like sometimes it can be a little too like ornamental, but and some of the like, especially the eye makeup is really fun. But yeah. Overly happy goths. I hear the accent is very charming. Thanks! It can get inconvenient. Yeah, you don't want to manage your own Discord. Sometimes you have to ban people and they'll be upset over it. Yeah, and I don't know. I struggle with like having to police over people like that. I think I would just feel really bad about it. Boss lied to me. There's no girl. Mad respect for plumbers and all the trade workers. Good night. Yes. Yes, agreed. You can also set your Discord so no one can send you messages unless you're friends. I guess that's the choice for you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have my separate Discord set to friends only, but yeah. Yeah, for now it stays a little twice removed. For now. For like privacy's sake. When there's a better setup, you know, we'll readdress then. Contrast between Sunny personality and goth culture would be amazing. Agreed. Although, then you run the risk of people calling you a poser, so it all depends. People gatekeep their communities pretty hard nowadays. Considering how most of, not all of us are from HIPAA community, I understand your choice to wait before interacting with us. I mean, I'm from HIPAA's community too, so ouch. Goth Sena coming soon. So, yeah. But yeah, I think for now I'll be wrapping up. Let's see what's. I mean, I think this is maybe a fair place to end, although I'm having a lot of fun talking. So, I don't know. Let me see real quick. Let me just, okay. Good luck, Sena. Okay, good luck. Thanks. I wonder how long it would take to get custom Sena plushies. Oh, that's a great segue. I saw recently that there's something called Budsy, where you can submit drawings to like the site and they'll send you like a stuffy, but it seems pretty expensive, so I don't know. But I was like, wow, where was that when I was a little kid? Because that would have been really freaking cool. But yeah, I had fun talking to the stream. Was great. Well, I'm glad that I discovered you, Sena. Definitely put you in my top content creators just by the conversations. Thank you so much. Goth Sena for 100k. Yes, please. Oh my gosh. Draw stream or how to animate stream. I was going to do a drawing stream last week, but I did get like the stomach flu, I think. So, yeah. But I think we're hoping to do like some of the FlaVR girls who do art are hoping to do like a collab sometime next week. So I'm gonna post the schedule on Twitter tomorrow afternoon sometime once I can confirm with everybody. But yeah, there's a fan Discord. You can find it on Twitter, I think, where people discuss all the things. But yeah, good luck, Miss Mini Accents. Thank you. Does Goth Sena hunt werewolves? That sounds so badass. Goth Sena the vampire hunter staking you in the heart. Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that. Kids submit drawings and they get made into plushies. That sounds like an amazing idea. Yeah, it really does. Niana also has, yes, she does. Yes. But yes. Otherwise, for now, there's no other ones. I mean, it's subject to change, but for now there's not. But yeah. Alright. Thank you, cats, for coming in. And have a great afternoon and evening or morning or wherever you're at time zone wise. Okay. Bye.